I'm Alican Ayanlar and welcome to NexTech. I'm here at the Gölcük Naval Base, the main base of the Turkish Navy just outside of Istanbul. And this is the Turkish Navy's latest and newest submarine, the TCG Piri Reis, the lead vessel in a growing fleet of ships. Join me as I take a deep dive into innovation to see how Turkey protects its shores from below.
Turkey is surrounded by water on three sides, and in this geography, strength at sea is survival. Now it's projecting that strength beneath the waves. The submarine story here isn't new. It dates back over a century to the 1880s when the Ottoman Navy launched Abdülhamit, the first sub in the world to fire a live torpedo underwater. After the 1923 Treaty of Lausanne banned military installations near the Istanbul Strait, Turkey moved its submarine operations to Gölcük, a base that still builds and maintains the country's undersea fleet. The motto is simple: silent and deep. And from the early Atalay-class boats named by Atatürk to today's next-generation platforms, Turkey's undersea ambitions have only grown. The Piri Reis is part of a broader submarine fleet that reflects Turkey's growing maritime ambitions. From the older German-designed Ay, Gür, and Preveze classes to the modern air-independent Reis-class, each vessel plays an important role. The Reis-class submarines are Turkey's most advanced yet. Based on Germany's Type 214, they're being assembled locally, part technology transfer, part statement of independence. And with this class, Turkey becomes the world's largest operator of German-designed subs. This is the general layout of the Piri Reis, from the fuel cell modules and engine room to the CIC, or Combat Information Center, and torpedo bays. While the Turkish Navy granted us rare access, we were asked not to film inside sensitive zones like the bridge, combat control, and weapons bay. She's nearly 70 meters long, a little over 6 meters wide, and displaces 1,850 tons with an impressive range of more than 22,000 kilometers. At Gölcük, progress moves fast. The second boat, Hızır Reis, is deep into sea trials. The third sub, Murat Reis, was floated in June of 2024 and is being fitted out in this dry dock. She's expected to join the fleet in the coming years. These aren't models on paper. They're steel and systems, already shaping the future of the balance of power near Turkey's coasts. The Reis-class submarines aren't just built to hide, they're built to strike. She can launch heavyweight torpedoes, fire anti-ship missiles from underwater, and lay mines in complete silence.
Built nearly a century ago to service the country's surface ships, the Gölcük Naval Shipyard has quietly transformed into the heart of the country's undersea ambitions. And behind these gates, engineers are putting together a new class of submarines, silent, lethal, and aimed to shift the balance of power beneath the waves.
Steel and systems only go so far. It's the people who make it work. Engineer Lieutenant Colonel Burak Üstündağ is one of those people. He doesn't just know the sub, he's part of it. He gave us a tour of the main production hangar to better understand the country's next-generation submarine strategy.
Gölcük Naval Shipyard was established in 1926 and initially carried out repair activities for the surface ships of the Turkish Navy. Also from 1937 onwards, the design and construction of the first steel-hulled ship in Turkey was successfully completed by the shipyard. However, the most important turning point in submarine construction history is the start of construction of TCG Yıldıray submarine in 1975. TCG Yıldıray is the first submarine constructed by Gölcük Naval Shipyard. Subsequently, a total of 11 submarines, including I, Piri Reis and Gür classes, were built at our shipyard and delivered to the Turkish naval forces until 2008. The submarine construction culture and knowledge accumulation formed during this process hold an important place in the character of our shipyard. With this experience and technical expertise, our shipyard is the only industrial establishment in Türkiye with the capability to build submarines.
So what exactly do you do? What are some of your tasks and responsibility during the submarine construction process?
I'm Commander Burak Üstündağ. I'm the head of Mechanical Systems branch in the construction department. My general responsibility in submarine construction projects is to manage the outfitting, setting to work and test processes of the submarine's mechanical systems and to coordinate all the shareholders of the project at the field. However, the technical personnel working in our department are also involved in the whole process, starting from the initial manufacturing of the submarine until the final test of the platform. And they provide the necessary guidance to ensure that the project is carried out in accordance with the schedule and quality standards. Since submarine construction involves a high level of technical knowledge and advanced engineering applications, the involvement of knowledgeable and experienced personnel in the field is a critical issue for the success of the project.
Now, under this magnificent roof, the new type submarine project is underway. Tell me a little bit more about this process.
The new type submarine project contract was signed in 2009 and activated in 2011. With the activation of the contract, infrastructure improvements for the construction of air-independent propulsion submarines began at the shipyard. After the completion of these activities, in order to test the suitability of the newly acquired capabilities and to experience the submarine construction and battery production line, pressure hull test section and prototype battery were manufactured. Consequently, construction of TCG Piri Reis, the first air-independent submarine of the Turkish Naval Forces, began on October the 8th, 2015.
Tell me a little bit more about the TCG Piri Reis. It is the lead ship of this new class. Some technical information?
Within the scope of the project, Turkish Navy will have a total of 6 submarines with air-independent propulsion systems. Our submarines are being built using high-strength steel, which are different from the standard shipbuilding steel used in surface ships. Thanks to the air-independent propulsion system developed with hydrogen fuel cell technology, Reis-class submarines will have the capability to operate submerged for weeks and thus significantly increase their stealth capability. And this is their most important weapon as a submarine. Equipped with diesel generators, permanent main magnet motor, a propeller and a battery group as the main propulsion system, the submarine especially has superior maneuverability with high speed and longer underwater cruising range. The submarines, which are equipped with the most advanced sensor systems, will be able to use their modern torpedoes and guided missiles effectively.
Once assembly is done, the next step is here, the dry dock. This is where the steel shell becomes a submarine. Wiring, testing, systems integration, and of course, that signature coat of black paint. Every inch is checked and then double checked. Nothing leaves this space until it's ready to survive the deep. There's no fanfare, just quiet pride. And then, sometimes, if you're lucky, you catch a glimpse of what comes next.
Behind me is the Reis, the second vessel in the Reis-class submarines. It is just coming back to port after spending a day out at sea for sea trials, and hopefully within a couple months, once it's completed those trials, it'll officially gain the title TCG Piri Reis, thus becoming the newest vessel in the Turkish Navy.
On August 24, 2024, TCG Piri Reis became operational, the first of a new breed, silent, smart, and hard to find. Thanks to its fuel cell propulsion system, she can stay submerged for nearly 2 weeks without surfacing. That's just one of the features that makes her a game changer. She's not patrolling for show. Piri Reis was built to protect Turkey's maritime interests under the Blue Homeland Doctrine, an assertive policy to secure Turkish rights across the Aegean, Eastern Mediterranean, and Black Seas. She moves with intent, not just armed, but ready, built to operate alone if needed, and to remind others of where Türkiye draws the line. At the helm of Piri Reis is a man who's taken her deep, literally and figuratively. Meet her captain, Şefik Kahve, the first to command this new era below the waves.
Turkish submarine history began with commissioning submarines named Abdülhamit and Abdülmecit, which construction completed in Taşkızak Shipyard in 1886 and 1887 for the Ottoman Navy. Moreover, Abdülhamit became the first submarine in the history fire torpedo at Selanik steamship in the Gulf of Izmit in 1888. Submarine operations in the Republic of Turkey began with Birinci İnönü and İkinci İnönü submarines, which bought from Netherlands in 1928. In the history of the Republic of Turkey, a total 52 submarines, including Atılay, Yıldıray, Saldıray, and Baturay, whose names were given by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, have served at date.
You are the commanding officer of this latest vessel of the Turkish Navy. What are some of your duties and responsibilities?
Since my main goal is to keep my boat ready for operations, I actively perform guiding and supervising duty in personal training and material issues. Our main goal is ready for operations in order to ensure to protect our maritime rights and interests in surrounding sea of Turkey. For this purpose, we are participating in training and exercises.
You and your crew have shown us around the boat, and I do have to say it is a special boat. What sets the Piri Reis apart from other vessels, not only within the Turkish Navy, but also compared to other submarines around the world?
Advanced sensors, reduced noise level, air-independent propulsion system, engagement capabilities with launching indigenous torpedo, guided missiles, and dropping mines, compact weapon systems, SATCOM, and SOF operations are the strengths that distinguish TCG Piri Reis for other submarines.
Behind the scenes, the engineering crew keeps everything running, everything from propulsion to life support. The chief engineer manages it all, a web of pressure valves, converters, and circuits. It's not glamorous, but it's the difference between mission success and failure.
There are different types of submarines in the Turkish Naval Forces inventory, although these submarines have similar characteristics in terms of hull structures and machinery systems. Especially combat systems and weapon loads differ according to year of construction. All of our submarines can conduct underwater operations for days without berthing.
Is there any difference in the air that we breathe outside and the air that we breathe inside the submarine when this vessel is submerged?
After the hatches close, depending on the number of personnel inside, the quality of breathing air will begin to change negatively. As time passes, it is inevitable that the oxygen level will decrease and the carbon dioxide level will increase as the personnel in the submarine breathe. However, with the technological systems in design of our submarines, this problem can be overcome and it is ensured that the personnel do not experience any health problems.
In terms of the means and capabilities of this vessel, the TCG Piri Reis, where exactly can she operate?
TCG Piri Reis is capable of carrying out any mission that is inside anywhere in the world and anytime. TCG Piri Reis is a submarine which can conduct operations in every environment, from very shallow waters to the depths of the ocean, from the polar regions to the tropical seas. It's a deterrent platform with its modern sensors, systems and firepower.
And those operations can last anywhere from a week to several months at a time, thousands of kilometers from Turkish shores. During those long days at sea, the crew will have to live side by side in very cramped spaces.
Now, the beam of this vessel is just over 6 meters, but when you consider the fact that there's bunk beds, the dormitories of these sailors on both sides of the vessel, the space that's allocated on the hallway, as you can see, isn't all that much. And considering the fact that during military operations, everything needs to be working like clockwork, the amount of space is very limited.
Submerge the ship. Diving officer, submerge the ship, make a depth 150 feet.
On the 1MC, dive, dive.
That command is real. We heard it, felt it, and then we dove. Down past 150 meters, where there's no light, just pressure, routine, and total calm. The sub's nearly 2,000-ton frame sinks quickly, almost quietly, at a 5-degree angle, and then you're down there, having lunch. Underwater morale matters. Nothing lifts morale like a good meal. Lentil soup, baked meatballs and potatoes, and rice, along with a side of salad, surely brought up my morale. Yes, the food was great, but it's not the reason why Navy personnel want to serve on submarines. They're an entirely different breed.
Being a submariner is not a job actually, it's a lifestyle. A good submariner must in love with his profession, wise, experienced and responsible, in solidarity with his crew and physically and mentally strong. He must always be open-minded and analyze the data flowing from device and sensor, and he must build the situation awareness. Devotion to submarines and submarine work is an indispensable element.
To be a submariner isn't just about learning to navigate the sea. It's about mastering the depths, both physically and mentally. The training is brutal, demanding, and relentless. Before they even set foot aboard, every submariner undergoes rigorous training, from diving exercises to simulated real-world scenarios, mental conditioning to handle the pressure, and emergency drills to make sure they can leave the ship if things go wrong. But once you're here, you're part of a family. The senior petty officer is the anchor, leading, teaching, guiding.
The most important challenge is to work for long periods in a limited living space, far from daylight and normal daily life. It is to adapt to a different life in a wide range of three-dimensional underwater operations, to recognizing night and day only with the color of the lighting. Personnel in submarines work with great determination to accomplish the task given in the best way possible, under limited conditions without daylight and normal breathing air.
For someone who wants to become a submariner, what's the process like?
Our personnel, after a long submariner training course, follow a difficult internship training in submarines, and those who are successful deserve submariner badge and become a submariner. After the badge is worn, the training activities continue in the submarine. As the founder of our republic, the great leader Atatürk stated with great accuracy, the principal military school is military unit motto have also been our guide. The training level of our personnel is always being kept high by means of both theoretical lessons, conferences and trainings conducted under these circumstances.
Surfacing is a shift you feel in your chest. Pressure fades, light returns. After a couple of hours in the deep, the boat rises, slow and deliberate. A rare view of the Piri Reis breaching back into the world above. And it never stops being surreal. There are places most people will never go, underneath the surface, literally, and maybe a little metaphorically too. We dove with the crew of the TCG Piri Reis, shared meals, shared silence, watched as men became machines and machines became myth. It's cold down there, tight, quiet, but also strangely peaceful. Submariners don't just operate a vessel, they become part of it. You don't forget that kind of closeness. You don't forget the pressure or the pride. Most of us will never see what we saw, but for a moment we were down there too, deep, silent, and very much alive.
We're finally back on land after being submerged more than 100 meters out in the Bay of Izmit. The overall experience was amazingly silent and smooth, unlike most boats I've ever been on. The TCG Piri Reis is the lead vessel in a growing fleet of submarines, all looking to incorporate more indigenous technologies, ranging from munitions to communications, in order to continue to push Turkish innovation forward, all while keeping its waters safe. Well, that's it for this edition of NexTech. I'm Alican Ayanlar, and we'll see you next time.